celebrates the extraordinary contributions of Filipinos abroad and international partners whose contributions transcend borders and uplift the Filipino spirit. Established in 1991 through Executive Order 498 under the presidency of President Corazon C. Aquino, the PAFIO was born from a deep gratitude for the global Filipino community's unwavering support for the nation's growth and resilience. From this vision grew a platform that honors excellence, service, and global solidarity in many different forms. The PAFIO honors contributions across 4 distinct categories, each celebrating different facets of excellence and service. The Banaag Award recognizes collective action that uplifts Filipino communities abroad, emphasizing the power of collaboration and support. The Pamana ng Pilipino Award acknowledges individual excellence and distinction in various fields, highlighting the remarkable achievements of Filipinos worldwide. The Lingkod sa Kapwa Pilipino or Linkapil Award honors those who give back through humanitarian efforts and nation building, showcasing the spirit of giving and dedication to the Philippines' progress. Lastly, the Kaanib ng Bayan Award recognizes foreign partners who have gone above and beyond in championing the Filipino cause, underscoring the importance of global collaboration. Since 1991, 555 individuals and organizations from 55 countries and territories were conferred with PAFIO by 7 presidents. Their achievements remind us that the Filipino spirit transcends borders, making an indelible mark on the world stage. This 2026, the search continues. The Commission on Filipinos Overseas invites nominations for the next presidential awardees, individuals and organizations whose achievements and service continue to inspire the world. Nominations open on December 11, 2025 and close on May 29, 2026. Beyond the milestones and figures of the PAFIO are the real hearts behind the mission, the men and women whose service embody the true spirit of the presidential awards. Visit the PAFIO website to know more about the awards and download the nomination form from the QR code and official links provided.
Good evening, Attorney Carlo.
Magandang umaga, Sir Ares. Sana namang Martes.
Oo nga, ikaw mas bata ka sa akin. Ano ka ba? Batang 90s ka ba? Kasi ako ay batang 80s.
Actually, sir, batang 90s po ako, sir. Oo.
Ikaw ay nag-journalism, so mahilig ka ng manood ng news nung araw.
Bukod sa hilig ko, required din.
Oo. So malamang itong guest natin ngayon ay napapanood mo nung araw sa TV.
Oo, sir. Nagulat nga ako nung nire-review ko yung bio niya. Taga dito rin pala siya nung una.
Oo nga. Yan nga, kung mahilig kayong manood ng balita sa TV nung dekada 90 hanggang mga kalagitnaan ng mga 2000, malamang napansin na may imported, no? May imported na reporter na lumalabas sa TV. Lalo na kapag may pumuputok na malaking balita sa Pilipinas. Kapag may kudeta, may bagyo, may plane crash, may lumubog na barko, o basta malalaking insidente, ang unang tinatawagan ng mga international news agencies gaya ng BBC, CNN, Fox News,
ay siya.
Itong taong makakausap natin ngayon.
Kilala siya sa tawag na Mike in Manila. Isang independent news producer na hindi natatakot pumasok sa loob ng mga kulungan o kaya sumama sa mga sundalo o pulis sa kanilang mga mapanganib na misyon. Amerikano sa pananalita, tikas at itsura at galaw, pero Pinoy na Pinoy ang puso, diwa at isipan. Isa siyang veteranong mamamahayag na naniniwalang ang kwento sa likod ng balita ang bida at hindi ang reporter. Mga kaibigan, samahan niyo kami sa isang masayang talakayan kasamang dating anchor ng ABS-CBN International Report at Special Reports Correspondent ng PTV, si Mike in Manila, Mr. Michael Cohen.
Live via Zoom mula sa New York City. Mike, welcome sa Serbisyong CFO.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong
Sir
dalawa.
Mike, good morning po.
Syempre napakaganda yung introduction niyo sa akin kahit yung pag-AI niyo dun sa mukha ko sa flyer na pag mag-a-attend ako ng show.
Sobra ka namang AI.
Yung mga kasama ko dito, gusto na magpagawa din ng flyer. Nandiyan ako sa Little Manila dito sa New York City. Do you know that New York City has one of the largest Filipino-American populations dating back to early 1900s. May mga Pilipino na dito sa New York City. Simula pang pumasok ang Pilipinas sa ilalim ng let's say colonial period or yung early occupation period ng Estados Unidos after ng Spanish-American War. Ang Nueva York ang unang-una sa mga lungsod na pinadalahan ng mga Pilipino para pag-aralan yung mga sistema ng demokrasya at iba pa mga gawain. Actually, may good and bad side 'yan kasi dito yata nagmula yung wedding inuwi dyan sa Pilipinas. Yan yung masama. Pero yung maganda, yung mga negosyo, kalsada, mga projects, mga kung anong mga style ng pamumuhay at ng edukasyon na pataas ang antas dahil din dyan.
Mike, hanggang ngayon, palaisipan sa mga nakapanood sa iyo sa TV.
Kasama ako doon.
Oo, pati yung mga hanggang kanina nung pumasok ako dito sa studio. Palaisipan sa mga nakakakilala sa iyo, ano ka ba talaga? Kung Amerikano ka ba talaga o Pilipino? Ano ba talaga kuya? Ano ka ba talaga? Sino ba talaga si Mike Cohen?
Well, first of all, yung lola ko ay tubong Basilan dyan sa Mindanao. So yung mother ko was born in the town of Liloy sa Zamboanga. Zamboanga del Sur yata yung Liloy, Zamboanga del Sur. Tapos they lived in Zamboanga City noong World War II. Nagtago sila sa may tipo-tipo Basilan buong panahon ng World War II. Samantalang yung aking ama naman ay isang refugee na nagmula sa China and Russia. Doon siya pinanganak sa Shanghai. He was a Russian refugee. Kasama ng mother and father niya, nagsettle sila sa Maynila. They lived in Manila during World War II. Actually, parang ikaw, Ares, berde ang dugo nun Lasalista mula kinder hanggang college, until he went to school here in the United States. But his entire life, he grew up practically in the Philippines. Si George Cohen, he was one of the first people na gumawa ng mga political survey nung araw dyan sa Pilipinas.
Alam mo, actually, Mike, akala ko ang airpot mo yung artista na Mike Cohen. May artista nung araw na Mike Cohen. Akala ko yun ang airpot mo.
Yeah, there's a lot of Cohens actually who settled in the Philippines because we have to also remember na yung origins ng pangalan na Cohen in most instances are Jewish, di ba? And nung ikalawang digmaan pang daigdig, yung Pilipinas ang halos iilan lang lugar sa mundo na nakapagtago ang mga Hudyo doon sa kalupitan ng Nazi at saka ng Hitler regime. So binigyan ng pagkakataon ni Pangulong Quezon nung araw na makapag-settle. Hindi kasama doon yung aking ama or yung kanyang ama na si Jack Isaac Cohen na dati may restaurant yan sa may Malate. Malapit sa dating Hayalay, doon yung restaurant.
Yun ba yung Jack's?
And he was allowed to stay out during World War II because technically hindi siya American citizen, hindi siya alien na kalaban ng Hapon. Pero habang sila ay nasa labas, nagtatrabaho yung mga guerrilla sa loob ng restaurant nila. So hindi nila alam na that was a place also na nagkaroon ng magandang history din yung pamilya ng side ng father ko. At ganoon din sa mother ko sa Zamboanga. Samantala yung aking yung sa mother side ko was also Russian. Although hindi siya makakilala, nagsettle sa Zamboanga. His name was Leonard Kenaisev, yung father ng mother ko. And if you go above the town of Davao, dyan sa may Compostela Valley, meron tinatawag na Lake Leonard. That's named after my grandfather.
Oh.
He was one of the first geologists na nakapag-discover ng mga minerals, mga ano. And out of love for the Philippines, he chose to remain in the Philippines even after World War II. Nagpa-naturalize siya na Filipino. And ginawa siyang naturalized Filipino dahil sa serbisyo niya, kasama nila Manolo Fortich at ibang mga leader ng guerrilla noong araw na lumaban sa mga kalaban ng bayan noong panahon na yan upang sumali sila sa ano. They provided security dito sa Bukidnon, hanggang dito sa Compostela, pababa hanggang Davao. So yung family namin, north and south, andyan kami. But I grew up partly in Palawan. So hanggang west, nandun din ako.
Kaya pala attorney to si Mike. Napaka at home to sa Mindanao. Yung mga nakakasama namin dati na hindi pa masyadong kilala si Mike, nag-aalala sa security ni Mike. Pero to si Mike, wala talagang he's a local going around Mindanao, lalo na sa mga high security areas.
Opo.
Yeah, yung aking Aris, yung isang one of my uncles used to be for the longest time siya ang chief of police ng Dipolog City.
Kaya
Si Frederick Winters.
Opo.
So he was the chief of police ng Dipolog. Pero mistiso din si Winters nung panahon ni President Ramos. Yan ang nakita na sinabi, may mga US troops dito sa Mindanao. Yung si Uncle Frederick yun eh.
So
yung Winters family,
una nga
yung
kitang
Kinaisa
nakita,
family,
akala ko
they're very
congressman
big
ka ng
families
Amerika
sa
eh.
Mindanao. And mostly mga nagsettle galing sa Europe and those who settled here. And they chose Philippine citizenship. They became Filipinos rather than mananatili silang mga German immigrant or Russian immigrant. No, they stayed in the Philippines and they contributed, and actually medyo naparami yung dami namin eh. Marami when we have family reunions, Aris, attorney, siguro maabot ng libo yung kalahok sa
Alam mo,
mga family
attorney,
reunion.
pag nakita mong kausap ni Mike yung mga kapatid niya, mga kamag-anak niya, mapapanganga ka na lang na, putas, bakit marunong magsalita?
Ilonggo, nag-Ilonggo, nagkuyungin.
Marunong magbisaya yan, si Mike. Marunong, alam ko, kukuyunon ka rin eh. Diba?
Yung signal sa little bit garbled. Sorry, could you say that again, please?
Ang sinasabi, ang kinikwento ko dito na namamangha kami pag nakikita namin kayong magkakapatid na nag-uusap dahil nagtatagalog kayo, nagbibisaya. So, marami ka rin alam ng dialects.
Chabacano was her main dialect. So, hindi siya masyadong magaling sa Tagalog. But I remember there was one time na parang may nag-aaway sa nanay ko, ako at saka yung pinsan ko, suddenly came on the scene. And then siyempre pinagtanggol namin yung nanay namin. Nanay niya din kasama, yung sister na mother ko. And when they looked at us, sabi nila, bakit ang tataas mag-Tagalog?
Oo nga eh.
Ando kami sa Baguio City. Meron natin sa konting insidente tungkol doon sa something sa Baratillo na bumibili sila doon eh. So it was funny to watch because everybody was kind of wondering, bakit sila Tagalog na Tagalog? Itong katunggali nila, nag-Ilocano, hindi sila nakakaintindi.
Kahit yung una ka naming nakilala, Mike, kasama ko nun kasama namin nun at that time he is vice mayor of Quezon City, si Herbert Bautista. Nung na-meet ka namin, akala namin taga US Embassy.
Nakasuit daw po kayo, Sir Mike.
Maraming insidente ganun eh. I remember during yung halimbawa yung may mga travels kami ni yung yumaong Pangulong Fidel Ramos. So umiikot kami, sumasama ako sa mga lakad niya. Ganun. Although he knew my father, he knows my mom, because of yung work ng dad ko sa political posting and other things. So natatawa lang sila kasi usually he says, may foreign correspondent tayo kasama dito eh. Taga Cuyo, Palawan eh. Ganun lang ang ginagawa niya eh. Nakukuyunin naman ako. At syempre doon sa mga nakikinig sa atin po sa isla ng Cuyo, Agutaya, Araceli, Cagayancillo, Maid na Adlaw kanitong tanan, mga
Ayan.
butitingay at mga paryentes dyan sa
Oo.
Kuyo.
Sir Mike, may iba lang ako, Sir Mike.
Kasimanwa, mga magandang
Kasimanwa.
adlaw, Maid na Adlaw sa kanito.
Opo. Sir Mike, ano lang, may tanong lang ako, ano, kanina kasi binanggit yung pagko-cover nyo ng mga
I'm sorry, I
report.
couldn't hear you. The signal's a little bit garbled.
Ay,
I'm sorry.
sorry,
It's
Sir
probably my
Mike,
phone.
is it clear now?
Yeah, it's a little bit
okay.
better.
My question is, paano po ba kayo napasok sa media?
Napasok ko sa media dahil sa dating director ng PTV4 nung araw, I think around 1986, si Lourdes Ilustre. Si
Tita
Tita Lulu
Lulu.
kung tawagin
Oo.
namin. Tita Lulu got her
Yeah,
first
oo.
job from my dad. She was a student. She was kakalabas lang niya sa Bayanihan Dance Troupe. She was getting her first job. And that job was as a yung survey, yung gumagawa ng survey. Kasi nung araw yung survey, talagang door-to-door yan. Ginagawa na. So she worked dun sa Gallup polling agency ng father ko. And so one day when she saw me in Puerto Princesa, she said, I hear you like to play music and all that. Why don't you join the radio station that she owns dun sa Palawan, which was DYPR, yung Palawan Broadcasting Corporation. The station doesn't exist anymore. Binili yan ng isang mas malaking network. And it still lives in the hearts of Palaweños. It was for the longest time the only radio station on Palawan Island.
Oo, DYPR. Naalala ko yan, DYPR na yan.
And dahil kay Tita Lulu at I also experienced si Danny Bernardo was one of the broadcasters na siya ang one of the founding vice presidents ng News and Current Affairs ng ABS-CBN who created also itong Sabi Manok network nung araw yung naging ANC later on. Sila ni RVC ni Rolly Cruz. And si Sir Gabby Lopez, pumunta din ng Palawan. Meet nila ako. I was working then sa ABS-CBN, not
local.
yet ABS-CBN affiliate, yung DYPR. And then binigyan ng opportunity. I started sa Hoy Gising. Kasama nila Ed Lingao, nila Gino Orihana. Doon ako nagsimula mag-reporter ng araw. And it was rather funny. They would send me in undercover. yung mga assignment na some of them were as simple as checking the prices sa palengke. Sabi ka, Mike, magsa-stock market monitoring ka. So, ibig sabihin ng stock market, pupunta ka dun sa Kalintong, pupunta ka dun sa ibang mga palengke, at i-check mo yung presyo sa palengke. They wanted me to learn how to be a real reporter ng mga pinakamahalagang bagay para sa mga mamayan.
Yung basic talaga,
magkano yung presyo
basic.
ng bigas, magkano yung presyo ng isda, magkano yung presyo ng karne. So, yan yung basics. And that's how I learned. I learned from being in the streets, and the people of the Philippines are the ones who educated me. Through that, later on, I also was picked up by some of the largest news organizations in the world, the Associated Press. I was a stringer for the Manila Bureau of Associated Press. And aside from that also, nagpa-part-time din ako sa Reuters, nagtatabo kung saan-saan sa mga ahensya. Because let's face it, as a reporter in the early 80s and 90s, maliit pa rin sweldo. So, kung saan ka gagawa ng
puro kayo abogado nun
kukuha ng retrato, at ipadala mo, ibenta mo.
Gumagamit na po tayo ng mga technical jargon ng mga journalist ang sinasabi. Puro abogadi si Mike Cohen nung araw. Puro tabo.
The most important thing that I learned from it, even though I was still a college student at the time, nag-aaral ako dun sa Palawan State University where I went to school. Nag-enroll ako sa maraming mga different colleges in Manila prior to that. Nagsimula ako sa Metro Manila, pero dahil nahulog ako dun sa isang dorm, lumusot ako dun sa ceiling Kalimutan ko anong dorm na yan, Kalayaan yata.
Nag-UP ka ba?
Problema.
Nag-UP ka rin?
Sabi ng nanay ko noon, sa Palawan ka na mag-aral. Dito ka.
Binalik ka sa
Kasi kung saan ako nakakarating noon I was really known for getting myself into the weirdest situations as a journalist and surviving, including Malacanang, including places where nobody's supposed to go, and doing a lot of things that I think helped people and helped the country. Basta yung akin always, my rule was always patas. Yung be fair.
Oo.
Talk about things. If things are bad, say the bad things. But also give a chance to them to say what else is happening. Ayoko itong latest generation of, well, I don't even know what to call it anymore, pero parang napaka-ingrained na yung sensationalism eh. But that's an
Oo nga,
entirely
oo
different
nga,
topic,
oo nga.
it's just, I guess it's just a change in time. Siguro tumatanda na ako. Ganun lang.
So ngayon kasi puro ano no, in parang labanan ng influencer, mga mahilig sa selfie, parang ganun ba? Yung nakikita mo, Mike?
Yeah, it's really sad because
Medyo
like
OA
here in
yung
the United
approach.
States, we have so many good programs and things for Filipinos who come here and settle here. Like I was mentioning a while ago, right? If you go to New York City, you go to the 7 train. Sumakay ka na 7 train, bumaba ka ng 69th Street Station. When you come down, the first thing you see is a mural on the wall that says Little Manila. And then ito yung Little Manila community here. It's about 70,000 Filipinos, many of whom are working, many are very successful. Lahat ng bahay nila puro $1 million homes.
Talaga.
Not because it's a beautiful house. It's just dahil sa mahal ng presyo ng lupa dito sa New York City. Kahit yung bahay mukhang barong-barong, milyon na yung halaga ng bahay. So there's a
Tama.
lot there's a lot of very wealthy Filipinos who live here in New York City and support their families back in the Philippines. But many of them are divided along political lines. And that's really sad because it's not just the politics of the Philippines that divides them, but it's also the politics we have here.
Okay.
Dito, if you think problems are bad in the Philippines with issues over certain projects or other things, that's nothing compared to what we're seeing here. Here we have homeless programs where billions of dollars just disappear. Magic. The best magicians in the world are New York City politicians. They make everything disappear, including the records of where the money went. So that's really New York for you. And sadly, the same thing is happening now in places like Minnesota and in California and in other places where there's all these problems with graft and corruption, and these issues are being covered by other things that are happening that are incidents like there was a shooting recently in Minneapolis involving a federal law enforcement officer and unfortunately a woman who apparently panicked and tried to drive away, and that issue has become something that again is dealing with so many other problems. And instead of talking about ways to resolve it and calming things down, the way I was trained to do by Tita Lulu, Ilustre, by people like Rod Reyes
Oo.
sa
Oo, si
ABS-CBN,
Rod.
Frankie Evangelista, kahit sa kabayan. How they would teach us to always try and get as many sites as possible to balance things out and make sure you're always fair. Si Mike Enriquez, ganun din nung tour sa amin na nasa DCXL pa ako nung araw na nagre-report ako paminsan-minsan. It's always good to try and be in the medium of the middle, the media. Dahil yan naman talaga yung isa sa pinakamahalagang role. Yes, you confront
The
yung
issue.
sinasabi nila, you're a voice
challenge,
against
no?
abuse and power. Totoo yan. Talagang isa sa mga role yan. Pero that's not your only role. Your role also is to inform. Your role also is
Yes.
to educate. Your role also is to tell the truth. And unfortunately, it's not the truth we're hearing. It's a lot of propaganda, and it's hurting a lot of people. And it's hurting not just the United States or the Philippines, but the whole world. Puro ganito yung mga problema. We need to find ways to communicate clearly
Mike,
and talk clearly.
Mike,
And
ibalik ko lang.
be good voices.
Okay, sige.
Because yan naman talaga yung purpose natin. We come from 7,000 islands.
Yeah.
We go all over the world. You see Filipinos here are among the most successful, the best off, and the wealthiest people in the United States. Wherever you go, you will find a Filipino who's doing well. Give them a chance and an opportunity that's fair. Yayaman sila. Hindi lang in the sense of
Financial.
material wealth, but also in other things, spiritual and other things. Napaka-successful ang mga Pilipino dito sa Estados Unidos. And they do so many good things. Alam mo, during COVID, so many people from so many other countries who were working in our hospitals dito sa New York City nagsitago, nagsiuwi, umuwi ng ibang mga bansa kung taga saan sila. Pero ang mga Pilipino, hindi nila iniwan yung mga pasyente nila. And that's why we lost 50 Filipinos within the first week during the height of COVID here. And those people were real heroes. They really worked hard and did their jobs. So yan yung yan yung mga lessons na dapat din marinig ng ating mga kababayan, ng ating mga kasimanwa. Na we are very good people who do some very good things, but sometimes we can act, sadly, Aris, an attorney, very silly and very divided over things that are not necessarily needed to be an issue of division.
Mike, may mabilis lang na question na kung pwede masagot mo lang kasi tinatanong talaga to eh. Bakit matagal kang napanood sa TV, bakit bigla kang nawala at nasaan ka ngayon? Anong ginagawa mo?
Well, sanay lang palamunin lang ako ng mga anak ko. In about 2014,
Ganyan talaga.
I had some problems with my vision. And now I'm blind. So I no longer can see the way I used to. Yung isang mata ko is totally blind. Yung other eye ko is, I can see enough to get me into trouble. I still get into
Kaya pa din.
things. I still do a podcast, the Mike of New York podcast.
So may podcast ka pa rin, tuloy pa rin yun.
Yeah. It's still there. It's on Apple Podcasts and some other things. So every now and then, gumagawa pa rin ako ng podcast. I feature mga issues ng Philippine community dito sa Nueva York, California, sa ibang mga bahagi hanggang Canada. And we talk about a lot of things. Parati ko kausap sa chat sina Cherry Mercado, who's has a very active TV and radio presence in Toronto, Canada, which is about 7-8 hours north of me.
Marami
JV
sila
Villar,
dun di ba?
Kausap ko dito si JV sa Texas. Si Rodney Haleco. Kami nagdidebate sa Facebook.
Yes, si Rodney.
So there's so many of us who were in media in Manila who are active here in our own ways, are still doing what we used to do there. Even if we're a little bit older, a little bit slower, maybe a little bit blinder in my case, but even if we're blind, we can still hear, we can still smell, and we still have the nose for news.
Yun.
Mike, I'm giving you 1 minute to say your final message to our listeners and viewers. English.
Well, most important to all, who remember me for the things I did, and to all who maybe I didn't do enough for. As they say, never say sorry, but sometimes you have to say, I apologize if I hurt anybody in my career, my long career dyan sa media sa Pilipinas, more than 30 years.
Yeah.
But also, in the words of Douglas MacArthur, I shall return.
Yeah.
Hindi naman ako mawawala.
At gusto ka naming makasama.
Even if only by the means of the radio and other things, babalik at babalik pa rin ako.
Yes,
diba? Parang sa kanta ni Gabi Valenciano, babalik pa rin.
Yan.
And ganun lang, Ares, ganun lang, attorney. Siguro that's the most important thing. We always go home, even if we're only going home in our hearts.
We'll be looking forward to seeing you back on air here in the Philippines, Mr. Michael Cohen. Mike, maraming salamat sa iyong oras. Alam kong medyo gabi na rin dyan sa Nueva York. Maraming salamat. I hope we can invite you again. Marami kang gustong sabihin. We want to give you the platform. Maraming salamat, Mike. Maraming salamat din sa pagiging generous na reporter, lalo na dun sa mga bago pa lang at nakita ko paano mo tinulungan. Tinulungan ako niyan, attorney, nung namatay si Rico yan. Siya ang nagbigay sa akin ng balita.
Wow. Oo, sa Palawan kasi.
Pinadala siya ng ABS to get the body of Rico.
Talagang batang 90s yung episode talaga natin today.
At inyo pong napanood dito sa Serbisyong CFO ang journalist na si Michael Cohen.
Otherwise known as Mike in Manila.
Nandito na ang mga mahahalagang balita at anunsyo mula sa Commission on Filipinos Overseas. Balitang CFO. Balitang CFO. Dito lamang sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
at nagdaan na naman ng isang araw na pagsasahimpapawid ng ating programa para sa mga overseas Filipinos.
Sa bawat kwento, bawat impormasyon at bawat serbisyong hatid natin, layunin naming mapalapit ang gobyerno sa bawat Pilipino saan mang panig ng mundo.
Tandaan kababayan, basta't balita at serbisyo publiko.
CFO kasama mo saan man sa mundo.
Hanggang sa muli, ito ang
Serbisyong CFO sa Bagong Pilipinas.
Narito na ang programang mag-uugnay sa mga Pilipinong naninirahan sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Serbisyong CFO sa Bagong Pilipinas. Serbisyong hatid ng Commission on Filipino Overseas at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Ang programang magtatampok sa mga proyekto at serbisyo publiko upang mapalakas ang ugnayan ng milyong-milyong Pilipino sa kanilang bansang pinagmulan. Serbisyong CFO sa Bagong Pilipinas. Dito sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.